lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're Drive-in Theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Howdy, gang. What's going on? It is Monday night. It's 8 o'clock. You're tuned into the Drive-in Speakerbox. Welcome. What's up? I'm your host, the Boom Operator.
Oh, and I am the Grip Slick Doggy.
The Grip Slip Doggy Slippy just all your names that you have now. The Grip Slip. The Grip Slip.
Not
Slip
Slip Doggy.
Slip and Slide
No,
Doggy.
Slick Doggy.
Slick Doggy.
Not Slip.
I don't know if I'm ever gonna get used to this new like pronoun that you're identifying with. I just
2 months old now.
It's a little weird. But anyway, thanks for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. We broadcast the show live every Monday night at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're here in the Northwest Arkansas foothills, coming to you talking about movies, new movies that are in theaters, movies that are in streaming, new movies that are coming out, all the kind of cool news, all the fun stuff. It's what we do, and you can watch us over on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, and you can get participate in the chat, which you'll be hearing us talk about here in just a bit. Or if you're just listening to the podcast, you can subscribe and download the audio version of this wherever you get your podcasts. Lots of stuff going on in the chat, so we'll just go ahead and start saying hey to some of our viewers here. McLean over on YouTube says he's going to pause his Godzilla marathon for tonight's show. Which is worthy. I mean, we've got lots of Godzilla memorabilia here in the studio. Adam over on YouTube says, whoop, whoop, he gets to watch it live this week. Thanks for joining us, Adam. Vince says, oh, it didn't come through in the stream chat, but who's been subbed for 2 months and had 2 thumbs? Thank you, Vince, for the subs over on Twitch. For those of you, it is still September on Twitch, so subs are 20% off. It's only 3 days remaining. You can throw us a little bit of cash there over.
Take advantage of the discount. Get the founder icon.
Yeah.
Hook it up with some real goofy custom emotes.
Fun stuff there. Sam over on Facebook saying, hey, yo, and shout outs to Sam. He said he met April O'Neil on Saturday at the Arkansas
Comic-Con there in Little Rock.
Comic-Con. Yeah, so
they had the voice of Vegeta from English Dragon Ball Super.
Speaking of Vegeta, I mean, you've got a Vajoku something statue over there. Who is your statue?
What?
Who's your toy? I don't watch Dragon. Show the people your toy.
It's not a toy.
Well, your action figure.
It's not an action figure. It doesn't move. It's a statue. It is a statue. It's
a statue.
A figure.
Well, show them your
no
statue.
People don't need to see.
If you don't show them your statue, I'm not going to give you your gift.
Oh, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Here we go. I have
Check
a
it out.
super sick Gogeta.
It's just, he has a Gogeta. It's been sitting here on the desk for weeks, and he's been too scared to show it to everybody. So there it is. Shout outs to Draconic Neko over on Twitch. Howdy. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, we're going to be talking about movies tonight. We saw a couple of movies. I went and saw Malignant, the new James Wan horror movie.
New vision of horror.
Well, it's definitely an old vision of horror that this generation has never seen because they didn't live in video stores just grabbing things because of the box art like I grew up doing. But we'll talk about that later in the show. And what did you see this week, Jay?
I watched Kate, new movie.
Plus 8?
No.
No?
It's like the, John Wick / Atomic Blonde / whatever style movie. And I also went and watched Labyrinth 35th anniversary Fathom event.
Oh,
in the
Fathom
movie
events.
theater.
Well, tell. I mean, before we get into the news, I mean, we're not going to review Labyrinth clearly because I mean, if you,
here's a one-word review: sick.
it's sick. We all know that. But how was it seen in the big screen? I didn't get a chance to go.
It was good,
So.
yeah. Because they recently in August did release the 4K version. I know you hate that, but I absolutely enjoy
bollocks
it.
to that.
Keep
telling them about Labyrinth.
Really
I'm going to get your
enjoy
present.
I'll keep telling about Labyrinth. Well, the thing about David Bowie's Nutsack, fully featured in Jim Henson's masterpiece Labyrinth. No, man, it was good. Seeing it revamped, redone. Son of a bitch. If you're listening to audio only version, just breaking the entire set. No, man, but it was good. Revamped. Everything looked perfect, except, of course, the little bog fire guys that take their heads off and throw them around. They've always looked terrible, having bad green screen effects, and that wasn't exactly fixed. It did look a little bit better. You could tell some of the effects weren't super perfect, but other stuff made it look even better. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense because
yeah.
I just don't believe. I don't believe in that magic dance. I think that's just. I don't know. Maybe you're just too blind by the Goblin
off
King.
a cliff if you don't.
The Goblin King's balls just had you so enamored that you couldn't look away from my balls.
The crystal balls he's talking about, the ones that he juggles.
The balls in my hand, come with me and play my balls.
Something like that. No, it was good getting to see Labyrinth
in
the theater.
The babe with the balls.
Get out of here with that. Yeah, but hearing the Bowie track on the big screen speakers and seeing Ludo, life-size Ludo. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I had a good time.
Chris.
I enjoy. Get out of here, bro. What are you doing?
I
enjoy Labyrinth, and I thought it was a lot of fun to get to watch something like that. I've seen Star Trek 4 and Labyrinth within the last couple of weeks.
Fathom events are fun, dude.
Looking forward to Spirited Away coming up soon.
Oh, yeah.
The only problem is that Malco, that displays our Fathom events locally, has once again done away with their social distance seating when convenient, because they sold too many Labyrinth tickets, so they opened up a second screen and disregarded the social distance seatings. So had people all up in my business with their fat bodies and their hot COVID breath and all the terrible things. So
unrelated to that, I just got called out in the Twitch comments by Logan. He said 73 days since my birthday and 73 days since Bo first told me he left my gift at home. It is at my house. I swear to God, it is sitting by my front door, because this dude. So what you don't know about this story is Logan is like out of town every 15 minutes.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
This dude is like, oh yeah, I'm in New Zealand right now. I'm in Alabama right now. I'm in Texas right now.
Do you guys want to play video games? Do you want to have friendship? Do you guys want to get together and stuff? Yeah, sure, that'd be great. Oh, that was so 5 minutes ago. I'm already on the other side of the state.
I'm already in Alaska. Yeah. But so before I forget, because I forgot for the past 3 weeks to give you this gift, this is actually not from me. This is from one of our viewers who Zach's off, who tuned in. He gave you this. So I'm giving that to you. So it's and for those of you who listen to the audio, it's just a little plastic deal. Open it up. Take a look at it.
I'm finding where it opens.
And I'll get the.
That is too cool.
Where's the here we go. What is it? Dude, what show them to
it's
the
a
camera?
wanted poster for Monkey D. Luffy and a little straw hat, a Mugiwara.
From what is that?
From One Piece.
One Piece.
That is too cool.
One Piece.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Yeah. So it's always fun when our viewers give us gifts.
That is too cool. Actually, cool. I really like this. I'm gonna put it next to my Monkey D. Luffy face change pin that one of our other friends, my friend Sasha and Gracie, got for me when they were in Japan.
Whoa.
Yeah. So One Piece rules. I don't care what you say about it. I love it. Thank you.
There you go. More shout outs in the comments there. Christy saying, hey guys.
Hey,
James,
Mom.
Yeah.
And
got
Dad.
James' mom in there, the family. James, James Zorn's tuning in. That's a name I haven't heard in a very long time, saying our Bowie banter is priceless. Thanks.
Now, back in the chat, I think Sam said something about Imagine Meatloaf being the Goblin King instead of Bowie
no.
and the same costume.
That is not a loaf of meat I want to see in spandex.
Just the same
No.
costume.
No,
It'd be too good.
But anyway, okay, well, let's talk about what's going on in new movies, new news, stuff that's going on. I don't know if you heard about this. I just read about this last week. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. But it's funny when you hear studios that think that we have forgotten about things or this new generation doesn't know about things. But did you know that they're rebooting Eraser without Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No. What do you mean forget about it?
And it's just going to streaming.
It has the gun like the Far Sight in Perfect Dark where it sees through the walls and they can shoot through the walls. And it had the alligator scene with the zoo.
Yes.
And who was the...
but they're doing Eraser Reborn.
Get out of here with that.
What?
No one wants that. The only reason Eraser worked was because
James
it was
Coburn?
Schwarzenegger. He's the bad guy.
Yeah, I know.
Holy crap, I never even thought about it.
I mean,
for 2
Arnold
seconds.
Schwarzenegger, James
And
Coburn.
Vanessa...
You had James Caan was in it, I believe. Like you had the whole shebang in the original Eraser, and this new one has nothing to do with Arnold. Not even cool. Why would you want to watch this?
Growing up, I thought Eraser was a super sick movie, and all the reviews for it were always terrible, but I thought it was too cool.
I mean, you know,
it had rail guns that shot through walls and alligators, and I was like, well, I'm sold.
You know, the 90s action movies are a really interesting sort of subgenre in and of themselves. You know, you had John Woo kind of bringing Hong Kong pistol opera style action movies with, you know, his influence with the Mission Impossible early 90s series. And then you just had this whole just 90s action, which it was like bigger budget 80s action, because 80s action was just about like crashing cars and being silly. But then they were like, well, let's do that, but with a budget and throwing in dude, I mean, 90s action is cool. And the Eraser, while not like the best of all of Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies, of course, is actually a pretty good movie.
What do you mean, of course? What's better than Eraser?
Commando?
Jingle All the Way?
Yeah. Turbo Man. You know, that was my worst Arnold, I think, ever that I did there. Turbo Man. Turbo.
Nailed it.
I don't know. It's not a tumor. Everybody knows that. Gubernatorial race, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, starring in movies like Eraser. Don't remake Eraser. Yeah. I am the Eraser. No one else is erasing. No one. Erase this new movie. Yeah. That's what it's going to be. There we go. I just had to get into it. But anyway, I thought that was ridiculous. Whenever it comes out, we're going to watch it. Other remakes that actually...
we have to.
Yes, we do.
Back to back with the good Eraser and the new one.
Yeah, we're going to erase the Eraser. Little Racer, as Sam says. And Adam, of course, Predator, duh. Predator's great. You know, Commando's great. Jingle All the Way's great. Conan's great. You just have all of them. Hellraiser getting a remake is actually shooting now. They have begun shooting
in Serbia, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's directed by David Bruckner. It's going back to the source material, which is based off of a Clive Barker novel, a novella, I guess, called Hellbound Heart. He also wrote and directed the original film adaptation, but it's about if you've never seen Hellraiser, the Lament configuration, it just opens a portal to this hellish world of the Cenobites, and Pinhead, of course, is the one that everybody remembers. But there was like 10 films in the original franchise, and they're pretty fun. If you've never just jumped down that ultra violent hellhole that is the Hellraiser series, October's coming, and you can check those out. But I think I do think that while Dimension Films had the rights to this, and as far as remakes go, sometimes in a blue moon, I think a remake is deserved. And the interesting thing about Hellraiser as a remake is I think now with modern technology and whatnot, as long as they don't just CGI everything, I think that the world of the Cenobites could be really, really, really cool. Kind of like the new John Carpenter Michael Myers, bringing him back to the screen with Halloween, and now Halloween Kills coming out here pretty soon. I think some of these horrors could do with a little bit of, but just don't goof it all up. I don't know. Yeah, it's coming out. Shout-outs to Counterexample over on Twitch. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Vince just clipped us getting
being Arnie.
Getting into Arnie.
For the clip.
Let's see other news coming out. Did you? I don't know. I don't want to talk about Hawkeye. That just looks stupid. Oh, I remember what I was going to talk about. The Matrix trailer. We haven't had a chance to talk about the Matrix trailer. And Vince over here in Twitch just like throwing out gift subs like it's a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade.
Thanks for the gifted subs.
But the Matrix Resurrections. Did you see it? Did you watch the trailer?
I did. Yeah.
What is Slick Doggy's take?
Not a fan.
Yeah, and why?
Why does it need this weird soft reboot, reimagine? Why?
Is it a reimagine? What is it?
Kind of. It's like soft reboot.
It's new Lawrence Fishburne, which nobody has yet to explain why Lawrence Fishburne. Even Lawrence Fishburne is like, wait, why didn't they call me? Everybody else got a call.
I don't remember everything about the third Matrix because the second and third one are just like difficult,
just
to
not
watch.
Worth it. Just don't.
Yeah.
When they had like the twins with the like.
Yeah, Neo got blind and still had his magic in the real world or something.
I don't know. It would just whatever. This trailer it did what the first Matrix did best, was like going, oh, that looks neat. And
but it is being the first Matrix.
It's being the first Matrix.
But but it's like actually Neo, and he's trapped in the Matrix again, but he doesn't know that he's in the Matrix, so he's like old Neo, and he pretends like he's not Neo, and instead of killing him,
and then he has to do the exact same story arc all over again.
Yeah, and like rediscover himself.
I like McLean over on YouTube. His comment was an alternate title: Matrix, turn it off and turn it on again. Just reboot it. Bottle Rocket, he says, I read a crazy theory that the Matrix movie exists in this film's universe and he's playing Keanu Reeves. Okay, so here we go with theories. Here's my theory about theories is if you've ever worked on a movie or known anybody that's written a movie or made a movie, I promise you they're not thinking as hard about it as you are. They're just trying to get the damn movie made most of the time. And when you have a short runtime, someone's not sitting there going, okay, we're going to get this deep dive that only like 6% of the viewers are actually going to be in on. No, dude, they're like going, you know what? Most of the people that are going to movies right now probably never watched the original Matrix, or if they did, they thought it looked stupid. So let's see if we can make a whole bunch of money because we don't have any more intellectual properties that we can just scrape the absolute bottom of the barrel. So we've got new CGI. Keanu Reeves is at the top of his game. Everybody wants Keanu. Let's give him another Keanu Matrix. Wachowskis, are y'all still on board? Do you guys want millions of dollars? Yeah, I guess, because nobody watched Speed Racer. All right, you're in. Let's go. But not Lawrence Fishburne, because his neck got too big to be Neo. So, have you seen Lawrence Fishburne? His neck's huge. He can't fit in those leathers.
He's in John Wick, yeah.
He was the pigeon dude.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne's great. Why are you not getting Lawrence Fishburne? I don't know. Why no Lawrence? But anyway, Tina says, unless you're making Cloverfield. Yeah, Cloverfield. Sam says, Neo is stuck in the last LimeWire server. He is just a virus. Bottle Rocket says, there's a brief frame in the trailer that shows a frame of the original Matrix movie, if that makes sense. I mean, The Matrix is not a genius film. It never was. But, a lot of us were kids in the 90s and watched it, and it was cool because they were doing bullet trails, and it was like, what if you're in the Matrix? And it was it broke new ground at the time because nobody wanted to watch Existenz, and it's not the name of the drug that makes your pee-pee harder, but it is a weird kind of body horror style, like Matrix-esque.
Yeah, with Jude Law making bone guns.
Bone guns. But it's fun. Will says, hey, Spoiler Kings Podcast Network supports you guys. We're also doing a movie review podcast today. Well, hey, Spoiler Kings. Thanks for supporting us, man.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't do spoilers here, so we should... What are you giving me the eyes for? I at least say earmuffs, okay? So, there will be spoilers later in the show for the James Wan Malignant movie review, because we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, Draconic Neko said, someone say pee-pee hard? No, I said hard pee-pee. It's a little bit different. Dina says, a movie about altered realities potentially has references of flashback to the original. Outrageous! Yeah, of course. Vince says, Jake, you think that everything's a spoiler.
Yeah, well, when you give away the entire plot of a movie.
There was this one scene where this one guy walked out. Hey, dude, don't talk about the guy that walked out. Mark asks, is John Wick in the Matrix verse, or is the Matrix in the John Wick-averse? Ooh, that's a spinning top. That's some Christopher Nolan stuff there, man. I mean, I would say that John Wick is in the Matrix verse mainly because Matrix came out first, and John Wick's is pretty Neo-esque, you know. And he was like Neo. It was like, I don't want to be Neo no mo. And then he had a puppy, and then Mr. Smith came and like kicked the puppy, and then he's just like Neo-ing out. I'm not okay. We're going. I don't know where we're going with this, but I'm not that excited about the Matrix trailer either.
No, it doesn't look that good. I don't know. I'd rather watch the Animatrix again, I guess.
I'm going to see it. I'm going to watch it because duh. Dina says over on YouTube, I will say that I don't mind watching your show if I haven't watched a new movie because I never feel spoiled. See? And that's the goal here, guys. So, yeah, there we go. Vince says, I read the original John Wick script. John Wick is 70, and he's been gone from the game a long time. John is 70 years old, so dang. So he's basically... it just turns into Taken at that point with a set of skills. Anyway, I don't know. Matrix trailer, whatever. It's a thing. Any other news that I wanted to cover before we start talking about movies? It's really not much. New movies that are coming out. Let's go ahead and go over that because that's what we do now. Not a whole lot of big movies coming out. Obviously, everybody's given the new Marvel Cinematic Universe chapter, which we reviewed last week in depth, giving that some room to breathe. But we do have the new film from aging young rebel Clint Eastwood, the new Cry Macho. Who is this self-funded? Who allows Clint Eastwood to direct and star in movies anymore? Or do people just like go, you know what, Mr. Eastwood, he has enough handlers and enough money to where he just kind of, much like Howard Hughes making spruce gooses everywhere. And they're like, okay, yes, sir, Mr. Eastwood, you just go ahead and star in this old movie here. And here's the check. We're going to need you to sign here. And he's like, yep, sir, you're the director. And he's like, what
are you talking about, man? Clint Eastwood's good.
No, he hasn't been good then. He's like a tottering, senile scarecrow man. Like, what are you talking about? Clint Eastwood's good. He's like, but I mean, he's playing the same old freaking shtick he's been doing since Fistful of Dollars. He's like, I'm old and I'm crotchety, I'm a badass, and you can't. You're not a badass.
It works, yeah.
You probably need calcium chews. Badasses don't eat calcium chews.
Did you see Gran Torino?
That was a long time ago too, by today's standards.
It was, yeah.
Oh my gosh! Dina says it's his own production company. Of course, it has to be because no one's gonna tell him no.
He made $1 Million Baby, bro.
And as Vince said, he did jump shark when he talked to that chair. I just cannot deal with old Clint Eastwood. Just
cast him as Bruce Wayne in the Batman Beyond movie,
or direct. but don't get in front of the camera. It's just at a certain point just feels sad.
Whatever, dude.
Just like sad. He's not being cast in anything else except for his own cry macho. And what is this with this? What is this?
Have you seen the trailer for it?
I have.
Oh, okay. Well, then you know what it is.
I know exactly what the title comes from, but I think it's derivative and stupid. Dina says literally every Eastwood movie is his own production company for the last 50 years. I mean, it's like ever since Every Which Way But Loose. You're Mr. Man over here is just like
you
nodding.
ever seen that movie?
Yes,
It's so good.
no.
Yeah, there's a fight scene where they go through every house in that town just beating the hell out of each other. It has an orangutan, man.
I know it has an orangutan and Clint Eastwood, and it's a buddy comedy.
Trucking, orangutans, big old fight scenes. Good
Sign
good
you up,
movie.
huh?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I don't know. But anyway, that movie's coming out. I don't know if it's getting wide release. It might just hit limited release, but it's going to be pushing some things out of theaters. There is, let's see, what else? Actually, I don't think it's going to get in theaters either. I just fingers crossed hope this movie gets put in.
Before we move too far away, McClane said when he saw the trailer for Cry Macho, it looks like a movie that Tommy Lee Jones turned down. You're right. That's a very good description of what that trailer looked like.
1,000%. But there's a new movie coming out. It's probably going to be, big on streaming, but it's a part of the, Nick Cage-assance that we are all in the middle of. And I don't think assance is even a good word. If there's another period that we can encapsulate what's happening with Nick Cage's career right now. But it's from director Sion Sono, and it's called Prisoners of the Ghostland. And if you've not seen this trailer, it's something else. It's there's been a lot of people trying to do like Takeshi Miike style stuff lately, but this is, I haven't seen a Gonzo film come out in semi-wide release in a long time. And Gonzo films, kind of a weird, obscure genre of films. Not a whole lot of quote-unquote Gonzo movies out there. Or just, like, honest-to-goodness Gonzo movies.
Yeah, because who wants to see an aardvark trying to fuck a chicken all the time?
Hey, man, sign me up. Hey, man, to each his own. And that is kind of weird that Gonzo, like, had a chicken fetish. It's a little strange. But anyway, Prisoners of Ghostland. It's about a notorious criminal needing to break an evil curse in order to rescue an abducted girl who has mysteriously disappeared. And it's basically Nicolas Cage and a samurai sword in a weird parallel, like, Gonzo universe of, high chop sake, to use an old term. It looks cool. It looks super fun, and I can't wait to see this. I would love to see it in a theater, but I don't think it's
just like, man, we got a really weird idea, and it's a really weird movie, and we need something to get it off the ground, something to really help. And they're like, call Nick Cage, man. He'll do it. And they're like, how weird is it? Like, dude, it's out there. And they're like, call Nick Cage. He'll do it. And then you'll have name recognition. And they're like, hey, Mr. Cage, I got this really weird movie idea. When does it start filming?
Tomorrow. Sign me up.
Yeah.
But can't wait for that one. That one's gonna be. It's probably gonna be terrible, but I'm gonna see it. Also coming out, I'd probably hit semi-wide release. Cop Shop, starring Gerard Butler and Frank Grillo.
How stoked are you for that? Extra stoked.
Yeah, hold the stoke. No extra stoke. Just hold the stoke on my excitement sandwich for Cop Shop. Classic on the run from a lethal assassin, wily con artist devises a scheme to hide in a small town police station, and the hitman shows up, and then rookie cops caught in the middle, and
other hitmen show up to claim the bounty while the one hitman's trying to get him, and it turns into a comedy.
Cop Shop.
It doesn't look bad.
It has Gerard Butler in it.
Why do you hate Gerard Butler so
I just
much?
think I just don't like Gerard Butler in movies.
That weather
Geostorm.
Yeah.
Geostorm didn't need Gerard Butler to be an exciting time in the movie theater.
Good movie.
It was
a fun movie.
It was one of those proof of a movie doesn't have to be good to be great. And I would never watch that on TV. That's a movie, a drive-in movie, a theater movie with your buddies while intoxicated.
That's what you did.
It's going to be a thing. Vincent asks, you guys don't cuss? He says, if you cuss, I'm leaving the stream. Oh, geez. The gloves are off. I mean, I can tiptoe around some curse words. So he goes, he doesn't watch mature videos on here. Well, thanks, Vincent. He's only 18. Well, you can curse at 18. You could say, like, tallywhackers.
Wow, don't do that.
It's not a
Censored.
curse word.
You gotta put the censorship bar.
Earmuffs, Vincent.
Yeah. No, I'll watch it. I'll watch it, man. I think.
You're going to watch Cop Shop?
Yeah, why not?
Well, then
if it's available, I'll watch it.
You're going to watch Cop Shop because, of course, you love Gerard Butler. And I'm going to watch Prisoners of Ghostland because, boom. Yeah.
Gerard Butler does good movies, man.
Yeah, okay. The debate continues. Anyway, that's what's coming out in theaters this week. Let's talk about what we saw this week in the theaters. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first? You didn't go see a movie in a theater, did you?
I watched Labyrinth in the theater.
Yeah, well, I know, but
then
Kate was on
it was
TV.
a very limited theatrical release, but it was a Netflix movie.
Well, I'm gonna talk about Malignant then.
Yeah,
because we're gonna talk about Malignant. We're gonna talk about Malignant, which I've been reading a lot of reviews because I only read reviews after I see a movie because I don't want to have any expectations going into this movie. But, James Wan, everybody's like, a modern horror master, Insidious, and, Don't Breathe was pretty cool, and Saw and all this kind of stuff. But he hadn't really made a good horror movie. I think, 2016 was his last, horror movie, and this is kind of his return, and everybody's like, whoa, oh my gosh, James Wan, what are we going to do next? The Mind of the Wand. And this movie, while everybody's talking about, the crazy twist ending, and if you've ever seen a movie in your life and paid attention and you didn't predict what was going to happen at the end of this movie in the first 20 minutes of this movie, everybody's like, oh my gosh, it just went off the rails and I couldn't even believe what had happened. And you pay attention. It's right there. I mean, it is right there. And the funny thing about this is everybody's talking about how original and how crazy and weird this movie is. This movie is a remake of Basket Case. If you've never seen Basket Case, and I've read some people reviewing this movie and going, does subtle nods to Basket Case. Clearly, these people have never watched Basket Case. Now, Basket Case is a 1982 horror film, spawned 2 sequels. Kind of a cult classic. Had a $35,000 budget for the first one. It was, super, super small. But the movie is the plot of Malignant. Except for it cuts to the chase. The whole movie's campy. And Malignant basically tries to be this modern, spooky James Wan horror flick, and then in the last 25 minutes, he goes, you know what? We're going to do what this movie is supposed to be. We're going to be a 1980s, crazy cover art, goofy monster flick. And the monster reveal, once the monster's out in the open.
Someone throws flour on the imaginary friend and they can see him.
And then everything goes bananas. And, spoiler alert, the title is called Malignant. And when you usually use the word malignant, you're talking about tumors, you're talking about cancer. Oh, Vince says, speaking of, it's not a tumor. Malignant. It's not a tumor. It's actually her brother. Oh, God, spoiler. And, Belial was the separated at birth evil monster in Basket Case, and the brother, it was nobody approved him because he was this horrible disfigured little thing in a basket, and he would leap out of the basket and murder people, but the brother was oh, but it's my brother, and he would just murder everybody and try to rape people, and it was just the Basket Case is a weird movie.
That's unacceptable behavior,
and it's worth a watch because boy howdy is it hilarious. And this movie is the same, not to spoil it, because this movie is not, they say it has a twist, it doesn't have a twist. There's a crazy killer on the loose. And from the first murder you see, it's just Voldemort from the first one,
I thought you were going to say it was Voldemort from Deathly Hallows, where he's all curled up under the bench in Harry Potter's death.
I don't have enough power yet. Use my strong wand. but much like Quado from Total Recall, there's like this body horror going on in the movie, and they're separated at birth, but then there's like this mini twist, and it's so predictable, but it doesn't mean it's not fun. And that, I think, is the cool thing about this Malignant film that James Wan has done, is he's hearkening back to a time where horror movie wasn't all about like just jump scares and suspense. It was just this murderous rampage of a monster, a creature feature. That's something that you don't see in movies much anymore. Creature features, and Malignant does that. The last half hour of this movie is a creature feature. It's just on the loose, and it's just wanton violence. It's like you get in its way, well, your neck is snapped, or you got this in your face, or here's this in your eyeball. You get thrown across the room, and a chair thrown at your face, and like. Sam comes over in the comments. He says, "Is it better than Hatchet?" Hatchet exists in its own little pocket of the world in the cinematic universe. I would say Malignant is a more approachable version of a mid-'80s creature feature slasher. It has some really good body horror moments, some fun prosthetics. It definitely leaves you chuckling at some stuff that happens, and I'm okay with this. I think it's fun. I think it does the job. It's not a scary movie at all. If anything, you're going to be laughing more than you're like going, ew, oh, I'm so scared. So maybe Jake could watch it.
Horror.
It's not a.
I don't like jump scares. James Wan does all the jump
There's
scares.
no jump scares in this movie. There's like
I'm sure because all of his movies, it's always constant.
There's these shadowy figures and stuff that are in the background, and then you're like, oh, spooky time. I do have some questions about the magic powers that the creature has, and there are some continuity errors that this movie makes in terms of once you understand what the bad guy is in this movie and how it operates in this universe. You're like, well, wait a minute, how did he teleport through shadow? Because that's not congruent with what you're telling me now that he is. I mean, there's some psychic abilities and some weird stuff. The double jointed and gymnastic stunts. I can kind of like, I can get that. I've seen enough demonic possession movies where joints are irrelevant. They just go, and then they, walk around. And I got a lot of Valdo vibes. I think James Wan was like a big fan of Soul Calibur.
So the monster has a crazy codpiece.
Well, and he fights with like a guitar and backwards and like all crawling around just like Valdo. No cod pieces, unfortunately.
That's the scariest part of Voldo.
Very much Valdo meets Basket Case meets Voldemort, and that's this movie in a nutshell. We're going here in the comments
says I should
there.
have somebody hold my hand so I can watch a somewhat scary foreign film.
That's right. You do. You need a support network. Katie Scott says Basket Case was just revenge that went haywire. LOL. Yeah. I mean, Basket Case. And in Malignant, that's exactly okay. I'm going to tell you the plot of Basket Case, and I'm not spoiling anything about Malignant because I'm telling you the plot of Basket Case. There's a character, Dwayne Bradley, and he has the contents of his basket. It's his deformed, conjoined twin brother, Belial. And although they were conjoined at birth, they were surgically separated at an early age against their will, okay? Because Belial was deformed and horrible and evil.
Is that the name that his parents gave him?
Who knows?
They're like, this one's Dwayne, and that one's Belial.
Well, Gabriel is the name of the one in Malignant. And anyway, Belial has deep resentment from being cut off of his normal-looking brother, and Dwayne resents how everyone hates how ugly his brother is, which that didn't really make it into Malignant. But, so, the twins and Belial seeks revenge over the doctors that were responsible for their separation. So they go and systematically kill all the doctors that were responsible for separating them at birth. And anyway, they befriend somebody along the way, blah, 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 blah. The Belial and Dwayne kind of have a moment at the end, and, they fall out a window. But there's a sequel. But for the most part, it's the exact same plot as Malignant. The bad guys systematically killing these doctors, and you're like, why are they killing these doctors and only these doctors? Oh, well, here's this file that happens to be sitting in a dusty old castle on a mountain that no one's touched, and this box of perfectly organized, like 30-year-old files that were just sitting in this hospital, that she's like, here it is, I found it in 5 seconds, here's all the doctors, oh, they're the same doctors, and come on here, it's the same movie. It's Basket Case, guys. It's the plot, but it's fun. It's fun. It's a good horror movie. It's silly. It's ridiculous. The last 30 minutes are hilarious fun. Double jointed, backstabbing, weird. The peel aways were, some pretty neat effects that James Wan does. But I just want to see more creature features now, and I want to revisit old creature features because it just got that taste in my mouth for a little bit of that. Body horror creature feature Videodrome stuff. So anyway,
Videodrome would be cool. Yeah.
Vince says, where did I see this on? Sorry, I missed it. I saw it at the theater. It's probably on VOD, but I went and saw it at the theater because if I'm gonna go see like a horror movie, I like being in the theater for it. I like being in the theater for most movies, but especially any sort of like action movie, horror movie, adventure movie, sci-fi movie. I want to be transported into that world. Like if it's just a sports or a rom-com or whatever, I don't need to be transported to that world. It's usually like
you don't want to be transported to the world of Rudy.
Nah, dude, it's like a football stadium. I've been in one of those. But anyway, Sam says it's on Tubi. What's that? Tubi, Paramount Plus, Max, HBO minus, all the Disney butts. Anyway, all right, there you go. Malignant, it's in theaters. You can cut it out or you can watch it, whatever.
Vince says I also like to go to the theater for most movies and then hit it with the foreign films emote. Makes me feel like Paul Rubens a little bit when he says something like that.
Speaking of Paul Rubens, Mystery Men is on Netflix right now. So if you're needing a break from the MCU,
he's the spleen.
Yep, that's an OG fun comic book movie about not all comic book movie people or heroes have cool powers. So it's
plus Casanova Frankenstein's really cool.
Casanova Frankenstein is pretty cool. Anyway, okay, yeah. So tell us about Kate, Jake.
Oh, so
Kate plus Jake.
Yeah. Hey, no. So Kate is the new attempt to cash in on the popularity of John Wick, like we were talking about earlier.
John Wickian.
I think it's done by like one of the same producers of Atomic Blonde, not necessarily John Wick, but it's one of those things where there's somebody who's an extremely talented person in the realm of killing other persons, and she is... she has her handler and she's tasked with assassinating people, and that's her job, and she's like, I never mess up, and then of course the day comes where it happens because there's a plot against her, and the most foreseeable twist that's ever been in all of cinema, because you're like, oh, I bet he's a bad guy, and then turns out so it's basically just it's kind of like Crank meets
she got some drug in
John
her system
Wick.
that you gotta.
Yeah, she's been drugged, she's dying, she's been irradiated, and she's like dying of radiation poisoning, and her goal is to finish the job that she's been tasked with in assassinating these Yakuza guys, who are the same ones that have poisoned her.
So, the fun thing about action movies that always involve the Yakuza is
Yakuza die constantly. They
die constantly, and they never have guns, which is great because
these do.
What?
Yeah.
Yakuza with guns? Because that's what always makes Yakuza movies fun is they always have, like,
Swords.
tontos and swords, and they're running around going, ah! And you can get a lot of, like, close combat action scenes.
So everything is close combat for sure because it's in the crowded streets of Tokyo, like near the little izakayas and like the bathhouses and the little restaurants and things like this that are in the alleys and streets of Tokyo for the most part. It also takes place in like old Japanese houses with all the sliding doors and things like that. So you get kind of like a Miike type vibe going. Like you were saying, people try to emulate earlier. You get a lot of blood splatter on the screen doors. There is definitely a Tonto fight scene where everyone has like their Tontos or Wakazashis that they're all fighting with. Everyone uses a Shirasaya style, which is dumb because I don't know how people go without cutting their own fingers off all the time, but whatever, it's a movie. So you get a lot of that action, but it's kind of like Crank combined with John Wick combined with numerous other action movies, because eventually there's a girl that she's takes as a hostage, but then they start seeing eye to eye, and her goal is to save her because she sees herself in this girl, and of course that girl's life starts to emulate hers, and she's like, I'm not gonna let this happen. Black Widow style nonsense, but done a lot more entertaining for this movie. But then super obvious plot twists happen. And it's just a dumb action movie in the end. It's not anything that's going to stop and make you think. It's not anything where you're going to be like, oh, wow, that's impactful for these reasons. It's everything that you know it's going to be, and it's everything you expect it to be. And in the first 5 minutes, you know exactly how this movie will end. And it does not deviate from that. So nothing to make your brain have to work. But
I don't know why I just thought of this, but I mean, I'm reading through the comments and hearing what you're talking about. Did you ever see what was that, Hardcore Henry?
I saw parts of it. I never watched the whole thing.
Where it was just like
The
this
first
amped
person.
up, like first person, revenge assassin. And then I also, when I was thinking about Hardcore Henry, I was thinking about it's the movie with Daniel Radcliffe. It's called Guns Akimbo. Have you seen that? That's a kind of a fun.
No, because you reviewed it on the show,
Yeah.
and I've had it probably in my playlist for forever, and I just never have the time because I want to sit down and watch it because it looks
so
like such a
silly.
fun movie.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Sam asks, one last job. That is this movie. That's the entire plot of this movie is one last job.
Just like gritty. I'm gonna cut my hair with a knife.
She
and
does
I'm
do that.
Gonna give just one last job
During the
and get
Tonto
out.
fight
Yeah.
scene, someone grabs her hair and she's like, nope, take that away. Yeah. But it's there. It's
Fun.
something.
Action,
Yeah, there's a lot of bad CG that will definitely distract you at points.
blood, CG.
Yeah, and the cars. There's a car chase scene that starts out super sick, because if you watch the trailer for this, you see her and she's in a Kaido racer. It's like a Celica or like a four-door Skyline or something like that. Old 60s, 70s, like Japanese car. Nothing but neon. Kaido racer, low to the ground. And you get to see another Kaido racer's car that's just sick. It looks so cool, You have that like Japanese street scene, cool hot boy car aesthetic, and then it immediately becomes CGI and looks awful, and that car's like sliding, skidding sideways, and every car's hitting it, but they pass through it like it's nothing because they don't want it to get hit at that moment. And in the trailer, it's like 2 minutes of the trailer, and you're like, yeah, this movie looks dope. Kaido racers, Yakuza. You got Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who was in Sky High, and Sky High is cool.
Pilgrim.
Some people watch Scott Pilgrim and think it's cool. Those people aren't cool, but they think it's cool.
like
Dude, Sky
Scott
High
Pilgrim.
rules. No, we're not talking about Scott Pilgrim. It's a dumb movie.
I mean, Sky High did have a lot of cool people.
It
in
has Tadanobu Asano in it, and everyone likes him because he was Raiden in Mortal Kombat recently. And you have Woody Harrelson. Everyone thinks he's a real cool dude all the time. And then they just have the Kaido racer for like every bit of 5 seconds before it wrecks and ruins after it's terrible CG. But like I said, I mean, it's not a movie to make you think. It's not a movie to make you like watch in awe or be like, yeah, this is incredible. It's
What was
just
that movie we
a
watched?
real dumb action movie where some girl kills 200 people.
Sick.
And you get exactly what you would want to get
out of
the
that.
movie. Yeah.
What was that movie? Speaking of weird car chases that we watched, where all the cars that were like in Dubai and they were racing all those gold
Fast and
cars.
Furious, yeah.
No.
No, it was that Jackie Chan movie.
Oh, Vanguard.
Vanguard.
Yeah. That was a weird car chase for in Dubai with all these gold dipped cars
And
running
then it
around.
ended up in the
They're solid
aquarium,
gold.
and that guy got in the Shark Tank.
They ended on a super cop note in the mall aquarium. Anyway, all right. Well, Kate, you can check it out on streaming. Where did you catch that again? Netflix.
Yeah, it's a
out on
Netflix
original.
movie. Yeah.
All right. Vince over on Twitch says, "Oh, speaking of cars, if Jake is looking for a dentist, I saw a place he would love. It's called NOS, Naperville Oral Surgery." Womp womp womp. Well, yeah. All right. Well, okay. Well, those movies are out. You can check those out. And now we need to go talk about the box office. That's what we do. This is the last bit of the show. It's the last few minutes of the show. We're going to talk about money, because that's what all these movies are about. They're about money. We're going to talk about the box office roundup for the weekend of September 10th through 12th. It was just this past weekend. A lot of new releases that didn't get wide releases. We had The Alpinist, After We Fell, Show Me the Father, and Card Counter. Most of those ended up in the bottom rungs of the box office. But the number one movie in America, to no one's surprise, for another week is the new Legend of the Ten Rings. Zhangzi and Legend of the Ten Rings, $34 million at the box office.
Damn, that's the same money I got the weekend before.
I know, double up. So it's brought in $144 million at the domestic box office. I want to know what it is brought in on the. Let me see if I can pull up these worldwide numbers here. International market has brought in another 112, so worldwide is up to $256 million at the box office. So look at that. It's doing good. Number two, Free Guy, bringing in $5.5 million in its fifth weekend release. The number two movie only bringing in $5 million. That's still showing you the state of movies right now, but it has brought in $101 million for the Disney coffers, even though that's under the 20th Century Studios name, which is basically just Disney Fox. Number three, Malignant, opening up at the number 3 spot, which I think, as we get into October, if this movie hangs out in theaters, you're going to see a more steady increase of that's how horror works. We talk about it every year. It's the pattern. But $5.4 million in its opening weekend for Warner Brothers. Not a huge, strong opening, but not a bad opening either. Not half as good of an opening as Candyman got, but still doing well. In the number 4 spot, bringing in another $4.7 million in its third weekend release, bringing it up to 47 so far domestically for Universal. Number 5, Jungle Cruise, still hanging out there in its 7th week. At the number 5 spot, $2.3 million so far, brought it up to $109 million at the box office. Number 6, Paw Patrol, down there with another 2.3. Number 7, Don't Breathe 2, bringing another 1.1 million. And then, like I said, number 8 was The Card Counter, only in 580 theaters nationwide, bringing in $1 million for Focus Features. And then Show Me the Father, bringing in $700,000. And it's kind of sad because it was released in over 1,000 theaters, so it did not have a very good release this week. And the number 10 film, rounding up the top 10, RESPECT, Respect, bringing in $511,000 at the box office while still being in 1,300 theaters nationwide. There are 4,300 theaters that showed the new Marvel film, so a lot of theaters opening back up. They're out there. You can check them out. I tend to have a good experience at the theaters. I wish I had to correct our AMC when I went and saw Malignant because the audio was not working properly. It was all front channel, and I went up there.
That's the worst, and they do that a lot at that theater.
Yeah, and I went up to the concession stand. I couldn't find a person at the manager station, of course, and I said, "Hey guys, theater number 6. Pretty sure that it's only doing front channel audio. You guys might need to go up there and reboot the sound system there to get the full." And they're like, you could hear the crickets in their head, just eyes glazed over. And I'm like, hey, I know this is gonna sound weird, but I actually do audio for movies. I used to do that for a living, so I'm telling you right now, I even went up to the back channel speakers. There's nothing coming out of them. I don't even, maybe the sub system's not turned on. Something, can you reboot it? I know it's all automated, but to ask your manager, and they're like, oh, okay, sir, well, we don't know what you're talking about. So it took about 10 minutes, but then the sound kicked in, and the rest of the movie was fine.
Yeah, try sitting through like a 3.5 hour long Indian movie that they just refuse to fix. It's nothing but lower front.
That would just drive me insane. Sam asked before we go, he goes, did you get the flatbread pizza again? No, I only got it that one time. And, it was a little bit disappointing. The price has gone up on it, and it's like a $9.75 4-bite pizza that I'm just like, maybe next time. No. Vince says we need a Bo's Bite segment. I thought you guys would complain about, you were like, you're talking about food on this show. And now you're like, we need you to talk about food on this show. So maybe next time. I mean, I didn't have anything exciting. I had a bag of peanut M&Ms and a large Coke Zero with a splash of sparkling lemonade. Which is kind of my movie thing.
When I watched Labyrinth, I had a Mr. Pibb that immediately spilled all over myself as soon as I tried to grab it because the lid didn't fit.
You need a Mr. Pibb bib. That's what you need.
Seems so.
Did you have any snacks? Do you have any movie snacks?
No.
What? Did you eat?
Not during Labyrinth, guy.
I mean, but did you go beforehand?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, as long as you went, you don't go to the movie theater hungry, dude. Vince says there needs to be a Fathom Events Face Off sequel. Same cast, all new faces coming off. Hey, Face Off, that's a good one. It's not a good one. It's a terrible movie, but it's a terribly good movie.
Castor Troy.
It's terrible. All right, guys. Well, again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for those subs. September only got 3 days left, so by the time we come back,
it ends really on the 20th.
It's what it said on Twitch. I don't know. I don't make the rules for
Get
Twitch.
to it soon, yeah.
So thanks for tuning in. We will be back next Monday, 8:00 Central Standard Time, doing this live. Find us on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Wherever you download your podcast, you can download the audio version of this and wonder what all the chatter is. And you're like, gosh, because these guys in the comments just shut up. We don't know what they're talking about. But you can tune in anywhere you get your podcasts. So email us, I guess, if you want to, or just tune into our social media. Emails drive-in-speakerbox@gmail.com, but nobody uses email anymore. Any parting words there, Jake? Slick doggy.
Slick doggy. All I got is, Vince asked how long we got to call me that? Forever. That's the answer. It's only forever.
No, definitely not. Let's not do the forever thing. All right. Anyway, I'm the boom operator.
I'm Slick Doggy.
We'll see you guys next week. What?